Good morning, guys, and welcome back to another Torch Trans Am YouTube video. In today's video I'm going to be reviewing my new Atoto S8 Premium. I just put it in my car. I've been running it for about a month now, just kind of figuring things out, and I want to give a review based on how it's been in this car so far. So keep an eye out on this video. If you have an older classic car or just a car with a very basic radio and want to update to something a little bit more modern, this is something that I highly recommend, and I'll show you why. So this is my new Atoto S8 Premium, doubled in size with the non-hard button flat screen. This is one of their upper end lines. There is an Ultra as well on top of this that just wasn't available at the time of this purchase, but this is going to do pretty much everything you need and then some. So I will start off the bat. I've had a previous A6 in this car before. This is my 5th Atoto unit, so I'm quite familiar with them. I do like them so far. They've been pretty good, reliable, but very little issue. So I wasn't too hesitant to give this a go. Major things that have changed between the previous version and this will be button location, a lot faster speed, and new multi-point touch gesture, so which is great. On the Ultra, you'll have hands-free gesture as well, so just wave your hand in the air or close to the screen with the sensor, and you can swipe screens and do things as well. This now has the ability to use Apple CarPlay and Android Auto wirelessly to an extent for iPhone users, or USB for Android users as well. So first thing I want to say, the screen quality on this is night and day from the previous version I had. This is a LED screen, QLED I believe, glass screen. It does come with 2 screen protectors. I did not know that until I opened up the package, so that's kind of cool. One is a more frost cover, which I didn't like. It made things very blurry. The other is just a hard clear screen cover, but it does make the touch a little bit desensitized, so didn't end up using that. But other than that, the screen is very easy to see. At night especially, you might want to dim it down quite a bit. During the day, in the sunlight, works perfectly compared to the A6 I had before. It was really washed out and took away from the user experience. So with this, I have spent some time. I got it pretty set up in the car now, just adding or deleting apps I don't use, but comes preloaded. So Waze is on there, Google Maps is on there. Did a couple updates as well. My phone is already paired. I did opt to get the Atoto wireless or TPMS sensors as well, so that is installed on the car currently. So it's an easy $80 upgrade for cars that don't have TPMS. They just bolt on to your valve stems and away you go, and it gives you temperature as well. So I'll show that in a little bit. So with this, first off, you're going to go into your settings. You're going to set up your Google account if you want to. Pair your phone as well. This does have 2 Bluetooth adapters built in. So you can Bluetooth 1 for your phone. I use Bluetooth 2 for my OBD2 scan tool because I use Torque, the app, for my car. It gives me a lot of data in terms of how the car is running, gauges that I just don't have on this car. Being an older 80s classic car, not a lot of things you can monitor while you drive. So that gives me a lot of things there. A lot of settings to adjust as well for your preference. Some cool features. So display, you can adjust the color of the buttons on the side, which you could previously as well, to any color that you have. Change background pictures, wallpapers, live or not, and put your own screen pictures as well. They did add a new feature as well that I kind of showed in the beginning of having a startup logo. The only downside to the startup logo, that only turns on when you reboot the entire system. It doesn't come on every time you turn the key off and on. So a little bit of something that I wish they did do, but not a big deal. Settings wise as well, in general settings, a lot of nice features in terms of now being able to adjust the navigation voice guidance separately from everything else. That's huge because previously you would have the volume up listening to radio or something, and the volume guidance would be either way too loud or not loud enough or distorted. So they made vast improvements with that. There are a lot of room for add-ons, so front and rear camera, DVRs built in if you want for front camera all-time use. Steering wheel controls is built in as well. You can use aftermarket steering wheel controls and plug it in also, so for cars that have that. On my Subaru, I use the built-in steering wheel control adapter, and it worked flawlessly compared to the aftermarket I tried as well. You can pre-set up which apps start up automatically when you can turn the key on. So right now I have it set to Torque, as well as a custom app that starts automatically. Some apps may not be able to do that, but you'll have to kind of play with that and see what you like. Stuffs have built-in wireless as well, so I have my GPS antenna and my Wi-Fi antenna underneath the dash pad, so a little bit less reception, but I don't use them quite often for me to worry about having it out exposed on the dash. Just find it kind of takes away from the look of the car. I hate having things just out and about. So a lot of time will be spent adjusting this for the first time, and then you won't really have to worry about it after the fact. From there, the radio. So a lot of things have changed in terms of this as well, and you'll see that I have a full stereo system in this car. So I've noticed with this you have amplifier thud. So by that I mean when you turn the volume all the way down to 0, you'll hear the radio put up a noise, and it kind of sounds like the amplifier turns off and on, which it doesn't. It's just the amplifier built into the radio that actually turns the volume off, and that creates a backfeed. So you get that kind of noise every so often. Most likely, if you're not using an amplifier, you will not have this issue if it's direct hardwire to your speakers, so just keep that in mind. But anyway, with the radio, you have lots of presets, so you can have auto scan, which will just auto populate up to 18 preset stations that are local to you. You can set up your own as well and give them a name and type in a name specifically. RDS is built in, which is kind of cool. A lot of settings to adjust in terms of sensitivity for the AM and FM reception. So depending on where you are, you may not get the best reception. That's going to really depend on your car antenna as well, but it gives you room to really dial things in if you need to. I find this really sensitive, so you can actually dial in stations that won't come up on the auto seek, but it will if you manually type it in, so kind of cool with that as well. So you'll spend a lot of time setting this up, and then from there literally just press and go over your favorites if you need to, and press and hold will reset or give it a name by pressing the pencil there, and do things that way. So pretty straightforward in terms of radio app. Home button on the side takes you to the main screen. You can change this to be whatever you want for arranging your apps, so just press and hold will allow you to drag and drop. And these are the apps I have installed. You can go to Play Store, add more to your screen or widgets if you like. So a lot of things you can do with that and set it up however you choose on your main screen, and so on and so forth. The back button up top here is dependent on the app, how far back it will go. The circle button up top will take you back to this main page, and then the square button will be for your apps, what's in the background that's not being displayed. So you can scroll through and either turn them off if they're running in the background and keep the processor speed up. You also have split screen. So now that's a cool feature that I do use quite often. So in between running, let's say Torque and the radio, you'll have like a 2 bar indicator right here. Now allows you to go split screen mode. So now you have the radio on one side and whatever app you choose on the other will be displayed here as well. I'm just going to get rid of some of these. And you can have 2 apps running at the same time. So now you'll be able to see what you're listening to, change things while on the go, and have your GPS going at the same time, or music and video playing, or YouTube. So I really like this feature. I haven't seen this on anything else just yet, so that's kind of cool as well to have in the background. So with this, as I mentioned, I do have Torque as well, and right now I'm going to go into split screen. So I have spent some time with Torque, and if you are running this app, it is time consuming to set up different gauges that you want, what sensors it's able to read depending on the car, and then kind of go through adjusting the car settings on that app. So I have profile set up from before, so I know what specs it needs for it to work properly with my car, but this will give you a pretty good idea of how your car's performing or whatever you want to monitor as you drive. And so this is an app I recommend just for really your own curiosity. If you want to see what your mile per gallon is, it will calculate that, distance to empty, those kind of things that your car may not have built in on the factory dash. It will show on there as well. So highly check that out. So another thing that I added to this was the Atoto TPMS kit. So this was very easy to set up. So it comes with a USB dongle for it. You plug it in specifically to the back of the radio, and you hook up the valve stem sensors to each wheel. They are marked as in terms of which wheel they're supposed to go on, and that was it. I didn't have to program anything else. It automatically read everything. I had to drive it for maybe about 10 feet, and everything was synced. This is nice because if you're running a car without TPMS and want to know if your tire has a leak, or especially for me, I go to the track, I want to take air pressure out, I can monitor and get everything perfectly level, and then it gives you temperature as well. So if you do a burnout, it's nice to see what temperature you get and kind of really fine-tune what's the best setting for your tire and the car, and run that way as well. You can set up alarms for if it's a certain pressure too high or too low, and it'll give you an indicator. No matter what app is on, it will tell you that right when you start the vehicle, and away you go. So I do like this. What's nice about these compared to other ones that I saw on the market, this is reusable batteries, so you can change them. Some others you cannot service the sensors, so this is another good thing, and I hope that they last the test of time. So I've seen comments before in terms of when you install these to make sure you use anti-seize, so I did do that as well so that they don't rust onto your valve stem. Just keep that in mind if you're looking to do that. It's an easy $80 peace of mind. So one thing I do recommend also. So as you see, this card has Easy Connect and CarLink, and there are two very big differences between them. So Easy Connect is what allows you to mirror image your phone, and CarLink is what allows you to use either Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So the previous version that I used was MirrorLink, and that was okay, but it wasn't Android Auto, which I really wanted to have on the previous A6 that I used. So I'm going to plug my phone in, and I'm using a Note 9. And when you plug your phone in, on your phone you get an indication, depending on if you have it auto set up, to use CarLink or not. And then once you accept that, it will allow you to connect. So with Easy Connect, it is mirror imaging your phone, so it has its own app, and this is the main screen. So everything that you use from here is your phone app and data. So you'll see your phone battery life, signal strength, etc., your navigation app, Google Maps or Waze, your built-in music that you have on your phone, etc. will be from here. You can add other apps to be on the screen if you choose to as well, but this is directly from your phone. It's a little bit slower and a lot harder to use versus things like Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, especially with the voice commands. So I don't use this anymore in terms of this car. When I had my A6, this was the only way I could use my phone to its potential with the Android unit for all my apps aside from Torque. So this I didn't find as necessary now, as opposed to using the built-in stuff as well. So with CarLink, this will allow you to use Android Auto, which is more integrated and much easier to do while you're driving. And so it's going to start up here. And then you'll have everything that you're used to in terms of Android Auto. Games, apps, read out your text messages, all these things are much easier now as opposed to Easy Connect. So I use this completely instead of CarLink or Easy Connect. So the unit does allow for a USB SD card for music extension. I'm using an SD card as well as a USB stick for my music collection. I do like using this because you can really go through your different sources of music and play just whatever's on that device or all the above. I also stream Bluetooth music as well, but the audio quality does suffer doing so. So I would suggest loading up your music directly onto the unit or an external device and playing it that way. I find that when you do it through Bluetooth streaming, it can sometimes glitch a second or so in a song every so often. So kind of takes away from that experience in terms of enjoying your favorite music. So now, one of my biggest things that I really wanted the premium at least back in this car in terms of having a new Android radio was the EQ. So the previous A6 had a very, very basic 8-band EQ, and having a stereo system, it left for an undesirable soundstage. So with this car having a very expansive 32-band EQ allows for front and rear EQ adjustments on the screen, time alignment as well. Right, complete subcontrol and frequency range, high pass and low pass filters, and gains as well. So you'll spend a lot of time if you have a aftermarket system, so either a 4-channel amp or a sub amp, really dialing that in. So this was huge. It really brought back the sound quality that I was missing on the previous A6. So they really stepped up with this. I believe the Pro, Premium, and Ultra all have this as well. And highly recommend, if you can, for the extra dollars, go ahead and get one of the premium lines of the unit itself. So I will say video quality on this is really good as well. Right now I'm connected to my phone for Bluetooth or wireless tethering, so speed is a little bit slow, but the screen quality, the speed of watching videos is pretty cool. It is 1080p supposedly, but from what I can tell, it's pretty good screen quality of video playback. So I'm not afraid to put movies on here and watch them in the car if you're parking and chill. So that's my short little review of the Atoto S8 Premium. Like I said again, if you're looking for something to update your car without breaking the bank for a big name unit, this is definitely the way to go. They have lots of different sizes, so check them out. They're relatively inexpensive, and so far it's lasting the test of time. It's proven itself for me on the 5th unit, and they only get better. So check them out. Please comment, like, subscribe. If you have any questions, by all means, shoot me a message and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Stay tuned. Next video, we are going to be taking this car a little bit back under the knife, and I will show you that in the next one. Until then, cheers.